Ladies and gentlemen, we have on the line on a beautiful Sunday afternoon one of the true superstars in popular music, Mr. Neil Diamond. How are you, Neil?
I'm fine, Bill. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Just kind of relaxing. It sounds like you're having breakfast on a Sunday.
Actually, I'm talking to you from a payphone at Nathan Al's in Beverly Hills, and I have my cup of coffee here by the phone.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of relaxing.
Let me ask you something, first of all. I know a lot of people are wondering why you initially retired from performing and then why you chose this time to come back.
Well, I had to get away from it for a while. I wanted to spend some time with my family and just relax a little bit, get away from the road, let my juices start flowing again. And really, actually, I started planning my comeback almost as soon as I stopped. You know, I started taking notes and getting together ideas of things that I might be able to present on stage. But it was a great time for me, a great period of, I guess it was very productive in a way because I learned a great deal, basically how to relax, and I came back much mellower than when I left. I'm much more relaxed on stage. I'm enjoying it all more. So it was real good for me. I'm very happy about it. I'd like to do that every few years, take a little bit of time off. Maybe not 4 years off, but I think a year or so, and I still have that dream of going and living in Europe and studying music in London and doing all those kind of things.
I'm sure it gave you a chance to get to know your family really well again, too, didn't it, Neil?
Yeah, that's really the heart of it came down to that. You know, my son was about 2.5 at the time, and I just didn't want to miss those early years with him. He needed me, and I wanted to be with him, and it was real important. He's older now, and he's stronger, and he's able to handle it. So when I go off and travel to Europe or Australia, he can deal with it a little bit better.
Now, Neil, you mentioned you've become more mellow as an individual. Has your music changed at all since the return?
Well, you know, it's always changing because as you change, the music changes. You learn things, you get a little more experience in certain areas, you grow up a little bit. As you change, the music changes, so I'm sure it's changed, and I'm sure it'll continue to change.
Is your writing primarily personal?
Well, it involves a lot of things. Some of it is based on personal experience. A lot of it's based on fantasies. But yes, it all comes from basically the writer and from his experiences and his outlook. So it's personal in that respect, but it doesn't all relate to my own life directly.
Although I can recall with I Am, I Said, I've heard other people sing it, but it isn't as realistic when you hear somebody else do it because it's so Neil Diamond.
Yeah, that's true, although I've heard a number of people sing that song, and I thought it came off pretty well with them. It's a song that a surprising number of people can identify with. I've gotten letters from all over the world about that song, and I don't mind in the least having other people sing. As a matter of fact, I like when other people sing it.
Now, Neil, what about the Beautiful Noise album, of course, which I think's got to be one of the best albums of 1976? That basically, I guess, is a trip back to the Tin Pan Alley days when you were a struggling writer.
Yeah, I tried to kind of tell the story, relate some of the experiences that I had when I was just beginning as a writer in New York, and try and tell about some of the people I met at that time, and try to get it all wrapped up in one basic conceptual theme, which was the Beautiful Noise theme. And I was really pleased with it. Robbie and I spent about a year working on it, and I was very pleased with it.
Now, when one looks at the Grammy Awards of last night, of course, you were not nominated, and I, again, wonder how the Grammy nominations are selected. And to me, it was quite disturbing that a piece of art like Beautiful Noise and a great entertainer like Neil Diamond was completely shut out of the Grammy Award nominations.
Well, I agree. I'm just furious about it, and no, actually, I'm kidding. No, it's okay. There were a number of very good albums nominated, and I've had my share of nominations, and I actually won one of those things for Jonathan Siegel's score. So it's okay. Really, I'm out to please my audience more than anything else, and that's basically what I'm after. And so the response I've received from the audience on this album and the songs on the album is really the satisfaction that I look for. And of course, if you can win a Grammy or an Oscar or something like that, well, that's fabulous. That's just a little bonus, but it's not what it's all about.
Neil, will you record other writers today?
Oh yeah, I like to sing other people's songs. Actually it's a lot easier for me to sing other people's songs than it is to sing my own things, because I tend to be very critical of my own music, and when I'm doing other people's music, I just sing it and enjoy it, and I don't think about it too much. So I think on the next album, after this live album, I'll do a number of other people's songs, other writers' songs that I've been collecting over the years that I've wanted to record. And I'm looking forward to it. It's great fun to sing other people's music, because then you're just a singer, you're a vocalist, and it makes the job a lot easier and a little more fun.
Neil, just hang loose there. We're going to be right back. We got to pause for a commercial message or two, and then we'll be right back with Neil Diamond.
Great.
Neil?
Yeah, Bill.
Okay, we're back. When one looks at Neil Diamond, and again, I'm looking at the Greek Theater engagement that happened this past summer here in Los Angeles, which, of course, is the basis for your NBC television special tomorrow night. I was delighted to see so many varying age groups in attendance. You had them there from 70 years of age down to 5 and 6 years of age, and it seems to me that you're helping bridge the gap in today's popular music.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting, because the audience is very broad, and it's at first when I realized that my audience was very broad, it disturbed me a little bit, because I didn't really know exactly who to aim the music at, who I was performing for, but then I realized that it was a tremendous advantage, because I didn't have to be limited to one particular style or type of music. I could really run the gamut of musical forms and styles in concert and on record too. So it's really been great. I mean, there are kids in the audience and old timers as well. So it gives me the chance to really stretch out and do just about everything that I can do, all different styles and types of music, rather than being limited to one particular form aimed at one particular age group.
Mm-hmm. But again, very few entertainers in today's musical spectrum are able to do that.
Well, that's probably true, although I think what happens is that a number of writers and performers get boxed in by what their audience is, and they're afraid to lose the audience, so they continue to cater to one particular style or form of music, and it can get tiresome after a while. I consider myself very lucky in being able to play around and use all different kinds of things.
Do you think the older people understand what you're about?
Well, I'm not sure it's important whether they understand what I'm all about. The real important thing is that that some emotional response is elicited from them with the music,
Which we saw at the Greek Theater.
Makes terrific copy and terrific interviews, but I don't think the writer is as important as the actual piece of music itself.
Now, when you look at the Greek Theater engagement, which, of course, was sold out for the entire week, and you sold the concept, or your people sold the concept, to network television, that must have been a difficult sale when you consider what musical variety on TV is all about.
Well, actually, it was kind of an unusual thing, because see, when I did the Greek Theater in '72, when we did that Hot August Night album,
right,
I was kind of disappointed that I hadn't filmed it or taped it. I had no film on it, and I just did for myself, really. And so when this engagement came around and I realized that I was going to go all out with it, I decided to tape it. And Dwight Hemming and Gary Smith, who were set to direct my television show, came in and directed it. And they put together a sample hour version of that Greek Theater performance, and number of people from NBC saw the thing, and they just they really flipped.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's basically how it all came about. It is kind of unusual for especially a premiere first-time television appearance for someone. It's a performance show, but it is designed for television. There's some really beautiful, beautiful things going on in the show, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with it, and it was really easy to do because all I had to do was go out and perform, which is very natural to me and very comfortable for me.
How's the sound going to come across on television? Because it's difficult getting the sound of live performance in a recording studio on a little television tube.
Well, you can never really capture a live performance on television or any other medium, but I think we've come about as close as you're ever going to get. Robbie Robertson handled the sound on this, and I think it's quite extraordinary. And also we have, it'll be simulcast on FM at the same time, so if anybody wants to listen to it in stereo with real fine quality sound, they can do that as well. But basically it is a visual experience, and the show itself involves the audience and myself more than anything else, so that sound considerations become really secondary.
It's going to be delightful to see a performer singing on television instead of lip-syncing.
Well, I hope so. I hope you feel that way after you see the show.
Oh, I know we will. How would for an individual who was at the Greek Theater, basically then it is the Greek Theater show. Is there anything additional to that show on the special?
Yes, there's an introductory piece which we filmed at the Greek Theater, and we used it as an introductory piece to the show. But aside from that, it's the show that the audience saw at the Greek Theater in a condensed form. Don't forget the concert runs, the full concert runs about 2 hours, and we were limited to a 1 hour show on this, but we condensed it, and I think we've gotten to the heart of the matter. There's a pretty good representation of the songs and the music and the performance, and I feel very good about it. And
about 14 songs, right, Neil?
Pardon me?
About 14 songs.
I think it's something like that, 13 or 14 songs on the show itself.
And also there's a live album from the Greek Theater. Is this not correct? It's your new release on Columbia Records.
Right. Columbia just actually this week put out a live album where it's a much more complete version of the show. It's 20 or 21 songs and real high quality stereo, so it's really made for listening at home.
That's super. And of course 24 songs, so a lot of the hits and a lot of new material in one album. Neil, we're going to be right back following this message.
Okay, Bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're on with Neil Diamond on a Sunday afternoon. Your special tomorrow night on NBC TV will be on at 9 o'clock, isn't it, Neil?
That's right, 9 o'clock.
On KNBC Channel 4. What about the future of contemporary music on television? It seems that we're grabbing everybody. I know recently Joe Smith, who's the president of Elektra Asylum, it was the chairman of the board for Elektra Asylum Records, had mentioned that the record industry now is in upwards of $2.7 billion, which makes it the heaviest industry in entertainment. And yet television, for the most part, overlooks the contemporary performer. Do you see a future for contemporary music in television?
Well, actually, I think television is more open to music now than it's ever been. I remember when I first started, it was very difficult to even get a guest appearance on television. And now they have there are many specials around, and they have the midnight concert show, so the access to television is much more open now than it's ever been. Whether it will continue, I don't know. I think a lot of it depends upon the quality of the performers that they put on and how well they come off on television. This whole television thing is a first experience for me, and I've been very, very nervous about it. But real happy about the way it came out. You know, I almost chickened out of this one. I've chickened out of a few of them in the last
5 years.
But this one's kind of special, and I'm very proud of it, and I feel real good about it.
Now, Neil Diamond, what about the problem of the progressive rock area? It seems that that's the one area where you're not getting airplay, and I know initially you did. Why do you feel you're not getting it now? Is it a matter of being branded too pop?
And which area is that?
The progressive rock area.
Progressive rock?
Yeah, at one time you were getting incredible airplay on those type stations. That seems to be the only area where you're not getting play. Does it reach a situation when a person becomes immensely popular that the progressive rock stations decide not to play them? Or is it a matter of lifestyle, or what is the problem in that area?
I don't know, and I tell you, I wish you wouldn't have brought up the subject. It makes me feel very unhappy. Now, the progressive rock, I don't know, music changes all the time, and there are an awful lot of stations around that play different kinds of music. And I've been very lucky. My music has been played on all kinds of stations, or on easy listening stations, and middle of the road, and rock stations, and FM stations. So I really have no complaints. The music is being played, and it's getting out to the people, and the ultimate test is that the audiences are coming to the concerts, and people are buying and enjoying the records. So, and I'm just going to continue to write whatever music I can write without trying to cater to any radio format. I mean, I'm doing what I can do, and I've been very lucky and fortunate in my career. So, I'm just going to keep on keeping on.
That's right. And what about the motion picture area? And I know you did the Seagull album, the soundtrack. Any more motion picture work as far as songwriting in the future?
Well, I'd like to. The Jonathan Seagull piece was a very interesting kind of piece. It doesn't come along every day where they have a very poetic, spiritual film where you have the ability to really spread your wings and write whatever music you feel. And I had pretty much carte blanche in regard to the music that I wrote for that film. So it was a fascinating project for me. It's not every day that a project like that comes along, but I'm sure I'll be doing some music periodically, as the interesting projects come up.
I had heard also...
It was great fun.
It was just one of those things. Neil, I was curious about Beautiful Noise and adapting it to Broadway. I'd heard there's some talk that you might want to get involved with Broadway.
Yeah, when Beautiful Noise was written, it was conceptually it was built around the idea of presenting it on stage, and I'd still like to do that. I'm leaving next year open to either put that together as a Broadway kind of stage presentation or do it as an actual film. It's a very interesting story. It's got some really juicy things in it, and I think it deserves a larger platform than just limiting it to a recording.
I agree with you. I think it would be excellent performed on stage. Now, there was also been talk that Neil Diamond would like to do some motion pictures as an actor. Is that in the cards?
Yeah, I'd like to try that too. It's all part of the ongoing education that if you're lucky enough, you get the chance to do it. And I would like to try it. I studied acting for a little bit in New York, and I've done a couple of interesting screen tests over the years. And so I think in the next year or two, I'll have the chance to try that, and I definitely want to do it. I think it'll be good for me, and I have to learn something from it, even if what I learn is that I'm a bad actor. I'll learn something from it, and I think that's going to happen.
We'll be back with Neil Diamond in 1 minute. Neil?
Yes, bro.
What about, as you look back over your career, some of the songs that are most meaningful in terms of your life and the songs that you'll never forget?
Well, there are some songs that stick out in my mind. Actually, I think "Solitary Man" is one because it was the first record I had that had any kind of commercial success that was accepted by the public to any degree. So I guess that'll always be in the back of my mind somewhere. And of course, there are songs like "Brother Love," which has always been a great song for me and a piece for me to do in the show. And "I Am I Said," which is I think it's one of my best things. or 7 years, and people are still recording it, and people are still being moved by it, so I feel very good about that. It's generally very difficult to pick out favorites and things like that among the songs because really they end up being like children, and it's hard to pick your favorite children. They're all part of you. They all represent a certain part of your life and your experience, and you put a certain amount of yourself into each of them. But I think the three that I mentioned are the ones that stick out in my mind first.
Now, as far as looking ahead to the future, what are some albums coming up? What are some things you're working on besides, of course, with the Great Theater album is out now? What's coming up in the future?
Well, Robbie and I are going to... we've started putting together some ideas, and I've written a number of new songs, which I'm working on now in the process of completing, and we'll have an album out in the fall of brand new songs. We'll include some songs from other writers in that, but really beautiful, beautiful album. That's what we're looking to do, a very warm, intimate, beautiful, well-orchestrated album. And I'm hoping to have that completed and released in the fall.
What about a live performance in Los Angeles again to provide an opportunity for the public to see you again?
Well, I'd like to do another performance here in L.A. in '77. You know, I've been thinking about it, but I have to really figure out something that I can do that I feel is interesting and exciting and fresh. You know.
Can we put you in a place where where we can accommodate a few more people?
I think I probably will have to do that. I was thinking of maybe doing a big show or a few shows at the Forum, which can be very, very exciting. I've played a number of large arenas like that in the States, and I think a show can be developed and presented in a place like the Forum that could be very exciting. So I'm in the process of thinking about that and trying to figure out exactly how I do it.
You see going back to Vegas again?
Not for a while. No, that was a one-timer for me. I wanted the experience of performing in Vegas, and this was a fantastic opportunity. The brand new theater. I don't know if you saw the theater, but
I did, yeah.
It was extraordinary from a performance point of view. It was a great contact with the audience. The sight lines were great. The audience was comfortable. The stage had all kinds of capabilities for lighting and sound and sets, and so it was just an opportunity I didn't want to miss. I don't rule out playing Las Vegas. I've never played in a club before, so I think just the fact that I've never done it before is reason enough to do it once, but I wouldn't want to make a habit of it. I'd much prefer to perform in a concert situation where people are seated and there are no distractions, because you can really focus the attention, both intellectual and emotional, in on the music, and it becomes a more enjoyable evening for everybody, I think.
Neil, you've written, of course, songs for various entertainers, including Frank Sinatra. Are you doing anything with Frank now?
No, I wish I was. I think he's, I think he's the greatest. But he recorded a number of my songs. I actually recorded one from the Beautiful Noise album, a thing called Stargazer, which I sent over to him after the album came out. I thought it was just perfect for him, and he did it and did it beautifully. And he did a terrific version of Sweet Caroline. Mm-hmm. He did it with a big band. It was 2 or 3 albums ago, and I just flipped out when I heard it, because it was such a great. He's so fabulous, and he just added that fresh new interpretation of the song that the writer always hopes that anyone recording it will come up with. But I have no plans for the future except to say that I think he's one of the greatest, and anytime he wants to record anything of mine, well, God, he's more than welcome to do it, and it just makes me feel good.
Finally, Neil, as we conclude the interview, there are many young people listening in today. What advice do you have for the young people who want to make it into this business? Is there an opportunity for young people, or are the record companies making it doubly difficult by just going with established acts?
Well, there's always an opportunity, because basically the recording companies are always looking for new people and new talent. The opportunity is always there. It's really up to the to the person to be persistent, and if you care about it enough, and if you're willing to work hard enough, and if you have a little bit of talent to go along with it, you've got as good a chance as anybody, at least to get heard, and at least to get some of the music down on record. And from that point on, it's a lot of it is a matter of the fates and a great deal of hard work. And I think if you're willing to commit yourself to that, I think that you can get your music heard. I think you will be heard by the public eventually if you're willing to be persistent and work hard enough at it.
Now, you have your own publishing company, don't you, Neil?
Well, I own the copyrights to my songs. It was one of the promises that I made to myself when I was knocking around Tin Pan Alley, because at that time I was, just to survive, I had to sell the copyrights to the songs, and it always bothered me because I always felt that the writer should retain the control and the ownership of his own music.
Right.
And so I've been lucky in the last 10 years in the music that I've written that's been accepted by the public. I've been able to own those copyrights, and it's more a personal thing than anything else. But I feel very good about it. It's something that either someday I'll leave to my children or donate to a charity. But while I'm alive, it's something that I feel that is important for me to own and to control.
Neil Diamond on a Sunday afternoon, having a late breakfast or late lunch or what have you, and Nate and Al's, we want to thank you for taking time out. Good luck with your special tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on NBC, Channel 4. Neil Diamond at the Greek Theater.
Hey, Bill, thanks very much. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, Neil.
I'll see you soon.
Okay, partner.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.